It's been said that we can't teach what we don't know, but that is a lie. Children are great by their very nature, and we have the privilege and responsibility of raising them. It can be challenging at times. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Cynthia Armstrong. I'm a general and special education teacher. I homeschooled my children for 5 years, and the things I talk about are the things I've studied, I've researched, I've applied, and found what works for me and my family and my students. And I share it with you in the hopes that it can help you with wherever you're at in your journey. Now, I've been told, and I've actually said this many times myself, is you can't teach what you don't know. And that is true to a point. If we don't know it, we certainly can't teach it. But the thing is if we know it, but we haven't experienced it or applied it or learned it, we really can't teach it either. I mean, if we think about it, even teaching the alphabet or counting, it has to do with the things we've experienced. We teach our children as we're reading them books or as we're writing notes or letters or grocery lists. It's things that we apply and we teach them as just as we do them in a very natural way. And it's not because we know it. It is because we apply it and we experience it and we've learned that way. And all of the children that I've ever had come to kindergarten and things like that who are already reading, it's just something they picked up, that the ones that can actually do it and make meaning out of the things they've read are those that it was just an experience they've had that they did with their parents or with their grandparents, and they picked it up. There are those that you can train to say words and can read things, but really struggle to understand or apply or make meaning out of it. So when I say reading, I mean the whole of reading, including the understanding and being able to learn from what is read. And so it's such a vital thing that if we want our children to be kind, because it's a beneficial thing to be kind that lights up our lives in the world, then we need to apply kindness and not and I've talked about this before, not the manipulation kindness. Oh, I did this kind thing for you, so I expect you to do this kind thing back, where it's a trade and an exchange and not true kindness that's just done out of being kind. And the same thing, if we want our children to have love and experience like unconditional love, then that's something we can only give when we have learned that, when we've experienced that ourselves. And as we're older, again, it doesn't have to be, oh, I need my husband to give me unconditional love, or I need any particular person to give me unconditional love. That is something that as we think about it, as we study, as we learn, as we apply, we then get to experience. And again, it doesn't have to come externally. I mean, we all hope, we all hope that we can get some of that externally, but that just enhances our experience. It doesn't have to happen that way. And because if we do get that from from outside, maybe as we're growing up or things like that, then we've experienced it earlier in life. And so, can make perhaps quicker progress. But it doesn't matter. If you've never really felt that before, if you consider what is it that I would have wanted that would be that unconditional love. What would that look like if I had unconditional love for my child or for my spouse or for the stranger on the road? And we think about it, then we begin to have feelings towards that, a desire towards that, that we can then continue to work with and build on and apply in this situation and tweak and apply in that situation until we have learned what that feels like to have that unconditional love. And this is another thing that I know I say regularly, but it is so vital. We can only have as much unconditional love for others as we do for ourselves. So if we want someone to give us that unconditional love, start with giving it to yourself, because that is what's going to boost you to be able to have it for others. And we can really get into some patterns and some habits and some things that bring us down, that get us going in unhelpful cycles that seem to narrow and narrow till we feel stuck. But those are things that aren't real. Those are things that we've perceived in our minds from how our brain chose to interpret experiences that we've had. And as we go through and we apply different understanding, different stories, different things to the things that we've experienced, even some of what people consider very traumatic and maybe even constant and built up from one experience to another. When we know how to go inside and change those experiences by changing our meaning and our understanding that we gave to those experiences based on foundational programming that we didn't choose, but that's how we apply, then we can go in and switch those. We can go in and change those. It doesn't need to be from outside. In fact, it really truly can't be from outside. It comes from inside. And as we become aware of how our brain works, as we become aware of the knowledge out there, then again, that's just knowledge. That doesn't help us learn or change. But as we apply an experience, then we can begin to make those changes. And guess what? It's not instant. We apply a change and we go, oh, well, that didn't work for me. Well, people who are famous sports players, they didn't just come out of the womb being those sports heroes. They had to keep practicing. They had to mess up. It didn't work. And then they said, well, what else could I try? What else could I do? And so if we have that belief that it does work, that we can change our experiences, that we can feel unconditional love for ourselves so that we can then express it to others, and share that with others, if we have that belief, then we're going to keep trying. We're going to apply. We're going to learn and grow and come to understand what it feels like in this situation. And then when we apply it to other situations, and then we fall down because that next thing that came out is we didn't do it. But that's okay, because we can then look and say, well, why didn't I apply that knowledge that I've been learning and that I was able to apply in other situations? So it continues to build. So it's not knowledge. It's not the knowledge that we need. It's the application of that knowledge, the experience of that knowledge that we need before we can teach. There's something authentic, there's something real that allows us to communicate more deeply when we're trying to teach our children, when we have that in ourselves. So remember, children are great by their very natures, and we have that privilege, we have that responsibility to raise them. Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out, and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.